Hello everybody, Drake here from the History Channel. On today's episode, we'll be doing a live reading of one of the most influential works of all of mankind. More infamous than that of the Communist Manifesto, or Mein Kampf, Diary of a Wimpy Kid is an influence to everyone all around. And we here at the History Channel feel it needs respect. It demands attention in this modern day age. Everyone knows the history of Diary of a Wimpy Kid at this point. Back in World War II, it was almost lost due to the bombing of Nagasaki. I here in my hands hold the first real copy of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Now, the influence that the protagonist, the writer of the book, Greg Heffley, has done on this world is far too tragic to even begin to talk about here, but I will attempt to anyway. As you may as well know, Greg Heffley caused a cult uprising within the ranks of the government, causing ritual self-sacrifices by the thousands, which almost completely destroyed the nation's economic and governmental system. Now, this was a tragic moment, yes, but we need to understand how this happened. How did one text lead to such a loss of life? Some people believe that within these texts, akin to the Zodiac Killer, there is a code hidden throughout that leads to something greater. Did the events in this book really happen? Are they really a diary, or are they something greater? Of course, by around the time of the 5th book, he himself was shot dead in an FBI raid of his home to prevent further governmental suicides. But still, mysteriously, books kept on being published from out of nowhere. They were being sent through a post office. I will be reading the first day of the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Let's begin. Alright, now, let's get on with day 1. September, Tuesday. Which Tuesday it is unclear, but Tuesday in Christianity is the day that God created the sky, what humans often refer to as the heavens, which may connect later on in the book to various themes of godliness and narcissism. Let's begin. First of all, let me get something straight. This is a journal, not a diary. Now, what's important here is that while the title of the book collection is clearly called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, he clearly specifies here that these are in fact journals. This may somehow be a way of reflecting how the real world and his world are not quite the same viewpoints. I know what it says on the cover, but when Mom went out to buy this thing, I specifically told her to get one that didn't say diary on it. Now, of course, this person has a parental figure. Therefore, we can be certain that Greg is in fact born of this world, unless, of course, that the mother figure is in fact just a guardian of sorts and not actually a biological parent. Great. All I need is for some jerk to catch me carrying this book around and get the wrong idea. And then there's a wonderful illustration of what appears to be a bully saying sissy and hitting in an aggressive manner our writer, Greg Heffley. This could be what led him to his horrendous acts later in life. So remember, kids, do not bully people, or else they will murder you. So yeah. The other thing I want to clear up right away is that this was Mom's idea, not mine. But if she thinks I'm going to write down my feelings in here or whatever, she's crazy. So just don't expect me to be all, Dear Diary this, and Dear Diary that. We can tell from that segment that he is the intellectual type, not the emotional type. He's more grounded in thoughts and logic and numbers than emotions and the such. The only reason I agreed to do this at all is because I'd figure out later on when I'm rich and famous, I'll have better things to do than answer people's stupid questions all day long, so this book is going to come in handy. And here's a drawing of a premonition that never actually occurs. Gregory, tell us about your childhood. Were you always so smart and handsome? Here's my journal. Now shoo, shoo. It's a shame how kids these days have such high hopes for the future. Like I said, I'd be famous. Oh, I apologize. I read the part wrong. This is just the first take. I'm sorry. I do not mean to insult such a beautiful work as this. I will be better in the future. Like I said, I'll be famous one day, but for now I'm stuck in middle school with a bunch of morons. Let me just say for the record that I think middle school is the dumbest idea ever invented. You got kids like me who haven't hit their growth spurt yet, mixed in with these gorillas who need to shave twice a day. Similar illustration of people not quite as infamous as Greg. This does bring into question how many of these people in the illustrations are actually real. How many of these people actually are based off of someone, and would people be surprised to find out they are featured in such a horrendous abomination that is the Diary of Wimpy Kid series that led to such tragedies? And then they wonder why bullying is such a big problem in middle school. If it was up to me, grade levels would be based on height, not age. But then again, I guess that would mean kids like Shreg Gupta would still be in the first grade. I apologize, Treg, if you are still alive, if I've mispronounced your name. I mean no offense, sir. Today is the first day of school, and right now we're waiting around for the teacher to hurry up and finish the seating chart, so I figured I might as well write in this book to pass the time. By the way, let me give you some good advice. On the first day of school, you got to be real careful where you sit. You walk into the classroom and just plunk your stuff down on any old desk, and the next thing you know, the teacher is saying, "I hope you all like where you are sitting, because these are your permanent seats." The deep analytics, the Gregorers, as we say in the industry, have analyzed this scene a lot because it possibly connects to the social ideology of kings, of how when they are placed upon the throne, they are locked in there for life due to the divine birthright of kings, as back in the old days where they were declared by God themselves, supposedly, that they were rightfully in that spot. Greg himself is not happy in the situation, and he feels perhaps that his infinite power and wisdom is far too much for himself to be able to hold into place. So in this class, I got stuck with Chris Hosey in front of me and Lionel James in back of me. Now, we have actually traced these two individuals back to their original houses. They have been kept in a witness protection program and have changed their names and the such for their own safety, as, of course, all harm has gone to anyone else who is related to Greg Heffley in any way. I've actually spoken to this individual right here. This is Chris, actually. He hears Greg sometimes, he says. He hears like him in his mind. It's an interesting topic. Jason Brill came in late and almost sat to my right, but luckily I stopped that from happening at the last second. "Is this seat taken?" "Yes. Yes," he declares in a very clearly frightened manner. Next period, I should just sit in the middle of a bunch of hot girls as soon as I step in the room, but I guess if I do that, it just proves I didn't learn anything from last year. "Greg, will you please pass this note to Shelley?" "Why, certainly. Heh. The note reads, "Greg is a dork." Now, of course, Greg's desire to have a sexual relationship with a female shows that he is, in fact, capable of human temptation, like us mere mortals. There are arguments made over whether or not this proves that Greg himself is not an immortal being or just a regular person like us, and I personally think that it is very reasonable to say that Greg gained his godlike powers through work and was not born with them like some sort of deity. Man, I don't know what is up with these girls these days. It used to be a whole lot simpler back in elementary school. The deal was, if you were the fastest runner in your class, you all got... Man, I don't know what is up with these girls these days. It used to be a whole lot simpler back in elementary school. The deal was, if you were the fastest runner in the class, you got all the girls. And in 5th grade, the fastest runner was Ronnie McKay. Oh, McCoy, I apologize. I have not met this individual. Unfortunately, Ronnie was one of the individuals killed in the mass suicide that Greg spurred on with his cult. And I would like to say that I do not mean harm onto any of the people that this book is harmed. This is for purely historical purposes that this recording is being recorded. I'm, in fact, putting my life in danger. There is a estimated 50% chance that I will die immediately upon reading this book afterwards. Nowadays, it's a whole lot more complicated. Now it's about the kind of clothes you wear, or how rich you are, or if you have a cute butt, or whatever. And kids like Ronnie McCoy are scratching their heads wondering what the heck happened. The most popular boy in my grade is Bryce Anderson. The thing that really stinks is that I have always been into girls, but kids like Bryce have only come around in the last couple of years. I remember how Bryce used to act back in elementary school. Girls are stinky poos. Yeah. And then Greg retorts, I don't think girls are stinky poos. Now, of course, this famous line spurred a feminist movement back in the early 90s. It was the slogan that people were carrying around back then for the advocacy of more rights in labor laws towards women in the workplace. That's one of the very few good things that this book has actually done for people. In fact, some people think that the entirety of this book has only done good, but that is for you to decide and not for me to influence your political decisions. Another interesting choice about this is that Bryce, with all the research we have done, Bryce Anderson does not appear to be a real person. He is made up for the sake of this story, which leads us to think that he's the first key in the puzzle, in this big jigsaw puzzle and all these things, to find the actual true identity of the Manny, not Manny, I apologize, the Heffley family. Manny is one of the members of the Heffley family, as we will get to know later. We have no idea whether or not the Heffley family, the rest of them, are actually real or not. All we know is that Greg is for sure real, the rest are unknown. We think to be able to find out who they really were, we simply have to get the clues from the rest of the books, and we will eventually obtain the names, but that has not happened yet. We have a slight idea that Manny might be a reference to a pagan god, but it is up for debate. But of course, now, I don't get any credit for sticking with the girls all this time. Like I said, Bryce is the most popular kid in our grade, so that leaves all the rest of us guys scrambling for other spots. The best I can figure is I'm somewhere around 52nd or 53rd most popular this year. But that good news is that I'm about to move up one spot because Charlie Davis is above me, and he's getting his braces next week. The number 52 is, if I remember correctly, it's a very significant part of the whole Heffley puzzle. 52 is the first number of quote-unquote sinners that he murdered back in 1999, which then was moved up to 53 once I believe actually Charlie Davis was the 53rd victim of this certain attack, which my apologies to their families. We have no idea if the number 53 is anything other significant rather than just a number to him. But if you out there know of any religion that has a significant number of 52 or 53, please contact me. I tried to explain all this popularity stuff to my friend Rowley, who is probably hovering around the 150 mark, by the way. But I think it just goes in one ear and out the other with him. Rowley is a very, very intriguing part of this story. Now, Rowley is the supposed best friend of Greg, and from what our research is, Rowley is in fact real. He's been documented in several class photos, several other things, but he mysteriously vanished. In a few other research, if you rearrange some of the letters and some of the paragraphs of the books, you will get a message that reads, Rowley is my apprentice, Rowley is my son, which is supposedly from Greg. So Rowley, I believe, was the next in line to obtain Greg's powers, which, now that Greg has perished back in I believe it was the summer of 2012, around June, I believe, Rowley has obtained Greg's satanic powers and will now cause havoc. We have found one single diary that he's created. I believe it is something along the lines of Diary of a Super Awesome Kid, something around that. Please correct me, comment section. But it just creates a whole nother puzzle piece, and we don't want any more lives to be lost in this chaos. So if you could please contact us, that will be most appreciated. And that is it for the first day of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, dramatic reading. I hope that this has been an enjoyable experience for you, an enlightening one that has made you now understand the greater purpose of the importance of these books. It's interesting. The front cover of this book specifically has been torn off due to I mentioned earlier, the bombings of Nagasaki. Why this ended up in Japan but is written in entirely English is unknown. He could be half Japanese. That has been theorized. But that is all for this time. I hope you enjoy the next time we dive into Diary of a Wimpy Kid.